Hello guys, welcome to Makaut Engineering Information. I hope you all are doing well. In today's video is gonna be about Internet of Things IoT, so let's get right into the video.
What is the Internet of Things? The Internet of Things, or IoT, refers to the billions of physical devices around the world that are now connected to the Internet, all collecting and sharing data. Thanks to the arrival of super cheap computer chips and the ubiquity of wireless networks, it's possible to turn anything, from something as small as a pill to something as big as an aeroplane, into a part of the IoT. Connecting up all these different objects and adding sensors to them adds a level of digital intelligence to devices that would be otherwise dumb, enabling them to communicate real-time data without involving a human being. The Internet of Things is making the fabric of the world around us more smarter and more responsive, merging the digital and physical universes. What is an example of an Internet of Things device? Pretty much any physical object can be transformed into an IoT device if it can be connected to the Internet to be controlled or communicate information. A light bulb that can be switched on using a smartphone app is an IoT device, as is a motion sensor or a smart thermostat in your office or a connected street light. An IoT device could be as fluffy as a child's toy or as serious as a driverless truck. Some larger objects may themselves be filled with many smaller IoT components, such as a jet engine that's now filled with thousands of sensors collecting and transmitting data back to make sure it is operating efficiently. At an even bigger scale, smart cities projects are filling entire regions with sensors to help us understand and control the environment. What is the history of the Internet of Things? The idea of adding sensors and intelligence to basic objects was discussed throughout the 1980s and 1990s, and there are arguably some much earlier ancestors, but apart from some early projects, including an internet-connected vending machine, progress was slow simply because the technology wasn't ready. Chips were too big and bulky and there was no way for objects to communicate effectively. Processors that were cheap and power-frugal enough to be all but disposable were needed before it finally became cost-effective to connect up billions of devices. The adoption of RFID tags, low-power chips that can communicate wirelessly, solved some of this issue, along with the increasing availability of broadband internet and cellular and wireless networking. The adoption of IPv6, which, among other things, should provide enough IP addresses for every device the world, or indeed this galaxy, is ever likely to need, was also a necessary step for the IoT to scale. Kevin Ashton coined the phrase, Internet of Things in 1999, although it took at least another decade for the technology to catch up with the vision. The IoT integrates the interconnectedness of human culture, our things, with the interconnectedness of our digital information system, the Internet. That's the IoT, Ashton told Zone. The IoT and Cyber 6 where the IoT makes computing physical. So if things go wrong with IoT devices, there can be major real-world consequences, something that nations planning their cost-aware strategies are now taking into account. US intelligence community briefings have warned that the country's adversaries already have the ability to threaten its critical infrastructure as well as the broader ecosystem of connected consumer and industrial devices known as the Internet of Things. US intelligence has also warned that connected thermostats, cameras, and cookers could all be used either to spy on citizens of another country or to cause havoc if they were hacked. Adding key elements of national critical infrastructure like dams, bridges, and elements of the electricity grid to the IoT makes it even more vital that security is as tight as possible. Adding RFID tags to expensive pieces of equipment to help track their location was one of the first IoT applications. But since then, the cost of adding sensors and an internet connection to objects has continued to fall, and experts predict that this basic functionality could one day cost as little as 10 cents, making it possible to connect nearly everything to the internet. The IoT was initially most interesting to business and manufacturing, where its application is sometimes known as machine-to-machine (M2M), but the emphasis is now on filling our homes and offices with smart devices, transforming it into something that's relevant to almost everyone. Early suggestions for internet-connected devices included blobjects, objects that blog and record data about themselves to the internet, ubiquitous computing, or UBCOM, invisible computing, and pervasive computing. However, it was Internet of Things and IoT that stuck. What are the benefits of the Internet of Things for business? The benefits of the IoT for business depend on the particular implementation. Agility and efficiency are usually top considerations. The idea is that enterprises should have access to more data about their own products and their own internal systems, and a greater ability to make changes as a result. The IoT and cost, where the IoT makes computing physical. So if things go wrong with IoT devices, there can be major real-world consequences, something that nations planning their warfare strategies are now taking into account. US intelligence community briefings have warned that the country's adversaries already have the ability to threaten its critical infrastructure as well as the broader ecosystem of connected consumer and industrial devices known as the Internet of Things. US intelligence has also warned that connected thermostats, cameras, and cookers could all be used either to spy on citizens of another country or to cause havoc if they were hacked. Adding key elements of national critical infrastructure like dams, bridges, and elements of the electricity grid to the IoT makes it even more vital that security is as tight as possible. Thanks for watching. If you have any query about IoT, please comment below and subscribe and like our channels and our videos and share.